everybody, and what is going on? Thank you for those joining me live this Thursday. Very excited to have you with me. We've got a lot of fun things to share. It feels like deja vu. Just last week we had a very big release hit the Seller.Tools platform. If you hadn't had a chance to take a look at that yet, we'll touch on that briefly tonight, today, depending on where you're at. I'd love to hear that from you guys. Where are you joining me? If you are joining me live, where are you coming from in the world? It was great to see folks from New Zealand. I think we had some folks from Australia, different time zones, being willing to hop on, make sure that they were with us live, and hopefully you enjoyed the most recent live as well. I see Aiden. Hi, Aiden. Hope you're doing great. You're here with me in Orlando, which is typically sunny, and I think I keep reporting this. It's not been so sunny or as pleasant as usual. But we're going to brighten things up a little bit. We have some really fun stuff to cover for you guys. And again, those that are joining live, take full advantage of the chat. I really love to be able to engage with you, answer your questions on the fly, get your feedback. And it can be tool specific. It can be what you're struggling with. I really just want you to take full advantage of making the time, because I appreciate that you did that. And those that aren't joining us live, be sure to enjoy the content. Drop your questions, comments below in the video, and I do what I can to make sure we get those answered as well. So MV, very excited for this feature. I am as well. This is going to be something that I think you guys are really going to love seeing on a number of fronts. So again, I'm kind of teasing out what we're going to be tackling. So I see Judson. Hey Judson. Hey Will. Great to see you. Essency Botanical. Hey, great to see you again. I think you joined us for the Prism release, Hometown Hoodies. Great to see you. Hopefully, again, everybody's doing great, and hopefully this time works out good for everyone. I'm sure you guys killed the tool. Yes. And the major question, of course, what's the investment going to look like? And I think you guys are going to love that as well. So keep saying hi, guys, as we dive in. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat so we can make sure that we tackle anything that comes up for you. I want to try to make this as least dense as possible, because you can really get into the weeds with what we're touching on. We've unveiled what we're releasing. And so as we go through, obviously, I'm going to get a little bit deeper into the implications, its value for you, the return it's going to offer you in your business. But I don't want us to get necessarily in the weeds, because we got all the time in the world through content, through collaboration, through our Facebook group, FBA Kings, to really dive deep. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So quick primer, of course, as a welcome, is making sure that you guys know who we are at Seller.Tools. If you haven't had a chance to see either our content, our platform, this is the first time you've seen us, I think it's important to kind of share a little bit about who we are, what we've done in the Amazon space, because we take great pride in being a platform that is of sellers and by sellers. And so kind of a little bit of a glimpse into who we are and what we've done. There's just no way I can resize that to make sure it gets out of the way. I'm going to just shuffle my head over a little bit. So just sharing with you guys that we are very fortunate to be 1% sellers. Now, what does that mean? As a 7-figure seller, you're in the 1% effectively categorization. But what's really exciting about our team is really what they've been able to do. And I've been very fortunate, again, to be part of that team and generating over 9 figures, $100 million in revenue, and profiting over $10 million. So very just smart, sophisticated team that has come together, that has put together this platform that continues to develop tools. And I should really be careful to say fortunate. We've really worked very hard to do this. And in our space where you're maybe uncertain of the source of the content or the source of these courses or even tools, it's just really important to know, hey, have these guys been in the weeds, in the trenches, and have a really solid track record, because we want you to be able to rely on us. And hopefully, if we can earn your confidence, really keep that through more of our offerings, more of the value that we deliver. So, wow. And I want to jump right into this for those that haven't seen some of our most recent lives. We have been extremely busy at Seller.Tools, and we've been covering quite a bit of ground in terms of features, in terms of content. It's been a wide array of things that we've been tackling in a very short period of time. So just kind of a quick high level of what we have dropped in terms of recent value. Things like Keyword Wizard, completing expert level Keyword Wizard in 15 minutes. It's a really elegant flow that leverages all of our tools, still real-time Amazon data, addresses all the shortcomings of almost every other. I have not seen a keyword research method as elevated and as complete as Keyword Wizard, and that's what's really exciting about that new feature release. Keyword Insights, you now have visibility into estimated sales at the keyword level, those running rebates, full price buys that had no sense of reference as to, okay, how many units do I need to move for this specific keyword to rank. Keyword Insights helps to fill that void, gives you other unique and exclusive metrics like sales to demand. So very powerful as well. Then we have Prism, product research with accurate revenue and sales number. One thing that I sort of failed to mention with our last release is how important it is that those sales and revenue numbers are at the child level. So where what you typically see with product research is a roll up based on the estimation from a BSR, is a lot of times either tools or different references or content. Essentially, they aim to provide an estimate of revenue or sales by mapping out and kind of corroborating it with BSR. Not what we do with Prism, and just immensely excited about addressing that big pain point in terms of accuracy and reliability of sales and revenue. Big implications for product research, big implications for competitive analysis, and so on. We've got even more alerts for you guys. 404 arrows, review count, review rating, being notified right away. With what we do with the API and webhooks, our alerts are kind of elevated. There's no better name to call an alert, but it can kind of run the risk of looking similar to other options. They're just simply not. When you can create a webhook, trigger subsequent actions, create different activities based on that response, it's a whole different elevated experience than just an email showing up in your inbox. You know, white noise is a lot different than your business running itself because you've configured an alert in Seller.Tools. And then the API, what we love in terms of the functionality, what it delivers. Obviously, it can feel very advanced, but we love that. We love the fact that our tools are helping sellers to really grow, really evolve, punch up, and make sure that they're not using tools just to maintain their business. They want to be able to point at, and we want to encourage them, point at what tools, what they're doing to drive the results in your business. Is it setting the stage for 2xing, 5xing, 10xing your business, or is it just letting you be another seller on a saturated marketplace and really constantly struggling and dealing with that anxiety versus really leveraging some of the most advanced tools and features? And what we've also dropped, and I hope you guys have had a chance to check this out, is the Auto SFB strategy. I was really excited to put this together. What it aims to do is help you automate the most effective ranking strategy out there. So it's the perfect marriage of spending very little time and getting massive results. And I took a look at the landscape. I can tell you what else I've seen out there. You would pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to kind of unpack this level of strategy that is still devoid of automation. So you still have to spend your valuable time and pay effectively to create those types of flows. So I was really excited to put that together. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to take a look at that. If you haven't, hop over to that video on our YouTube channel right after checking out this content and take a look at it. I think you're going to be really impressed with the elevation of a ranking strategy. It really is a perfect marriage of automation. So again, you're very careful with your time. You're not in the weeds as a founder in many chat flows, that less than desirable scenario where your effective hourly rate drops through the floor and you're spending all that time in there versus can you configure it with a very high return on your investment in terms of deploying this type of rank strategy. So definitely check that out as well. So I'm keeping an eye on it. If you guys have some other questions, just started using mini chat with Seller.Tools, pretty in-depth. Really looking forward to awesome, great feedback. And MV, if you have any questions as you're working through that, let us know. Whether it's FBA Kings, our Facebook group, whether it's comments, questions in a video like this. Like I said, we really try to stay proactive with you guys to support your level of access there. We know it's very technical, but we want to encourage you. If it's more advanced, that's to That's to your benefit, right? That's really what you want to take full advantage of, especially when we're in the golden era of ManyChat and kind of the golden era of automation. So ultimately, what we want to do with the tools that we are delivering, all of these features and this content, is really solving problems. If you're, again, founder spending your time in ManyChat flows all day, you're taking relatively your high value time doing low value activities, and that's not congruent. And that's really where, with the automations, with the API, we want to solve that problem for you. Things like inaccurate revenue and sales figures via Prism. We wanted to address that so that way when you do product research, when you do competitive analysis, you have that child ASIN visibility into those most important metrics. And of course, you've got additional filtering, you've got trend analysis that you can do there, but it's a really powerful tool to give you that level of insight. Of course, as I mentioned with Keyword Wizard, a very recent release, expert level keyword research in no time at all. Nothing missing. Do it quickly, do it effectively, and be done with your keyword research. I mean, ultimately what we want to do is check a box at the end of the day, right? We want to make sure we do keyword research better than the next guy. And what we often were seeing is people were falling prey to the same thing. They were doing a reverse ASIN and maybe adding like Amazon suggested, and they were doing like simple math and very, very unsophisticated keyword research. And this really helps to address that head on. And then finally, Amazon PPC, and that's really what we're tackling with this most recent release. I think you're going to see the perspective of sellers being applied to what we're delivering with this solution, and I think you're going to really love it. Because ultimately what we want to strive to achieve with our PPC efforts is to cut waste, to extract opportunities, and optimize to win. It's a pretty straightforward path in terms of what we're trying to achieve. And so when we see a lot of bells and whistles, we tend to get turned off. When we see unnecessary data or big words that are just meant to sell us or make us spend more money, that really doesn't interest us as sellers. We just want to know, does it meet this criteria? And it's very much yes or no. We don't want to hear a lot more. You again will notice this a lot from us and really want to champion this, is that we really value our time. So we don't want to be sold. We don't want to be pitched. We don't want to be pushed. We want to know that what we're taking action on is delivering the results that we look for, those exceptional results for us in our business, with PPC being such a crucial piece in a competitive landscape as it is with Amazon. So with that, guys, I'm ready to dive right in. You guys are noticing we don't spend a lot of extra time. We really value everybody's time. So we're going to dive right into introducing to you our latest release, PPC S. And I think, again, you guys are going to love how easy it is to get value out of this brand new feature release. So I'm going to jump right into our Seller.Tools account, and we're going to navigate right into PPC S. So PPC S can be found right now for active Seller.Tools users. This is available to you. You just navigate down to PPC S, and available now as part of our beta release. So I want to make sure my head is out of the way so you guys can see okay. All right. I want to make sure you guys get a fresh, clean view of the PPCS dashboard. And you'll notice it's very clean, very refined, because again, we don't like a lot of bells and whistles. We want results, right? That's what we're looking for with our PPC. We don't need 24 videos explaining 24 different steps. We want to know you can cut waste, extract opportunities, and optimize to win, right? Pretty straightforward in terms of what we're looking for. So when you first complete a sync with your data for access to PPCS, there's a few quick steps that you're going to want to take. Now, first and foremost, you want to inform PPCS and Seller.Tools what your target ACOS is, right? That's really your target, your aim with your PPC efforts. So once you do that, you're able to start leveraging some of the tools. And I'm going to dive right into things like cutting waste. Very important. We want to make sure you're making money or saving money with your PPC efforts. Now, the first feature I'm going to dive into is quick negative matching, effectively cutting that waste. So if I navigate to quick negative matcher, it's going to pull up my dummy account. So keep that in mind. This is a dummy account, so some of the data may be a little bit more askew than when you see this added to your account. So here in quick negative matcher, and again, I'm going to have to make sure my can be a little bit smaller here. What we're doing is we're taking the results of some of our existing campaigns and finding suboptimal optimal terms to make some decisions on as an opportunity to negative match those terms. So as I scroll down, what you'll see is this search term from this source keyword, so this phrase of bifold RFID wallets for men, found in this campaign for this ad group. Now we have last click visibility, as well as if you click on the graph, you get some of the graphed data as well. And from here, we can make a decision based on the settings that we have included in PPCS, whether we want to negative exact or negative phrase match that search term. Now, very simple and easy to do at this search term or keyword level. Now, the reason, which is important, the reason why this search term has shown up in our quick negative matcher is that it's reached the maximum clicks with 0 generated sales. And now that's reflected as much in the data here. Now let's say you want to see a little bit more data beyond just the reason. You can click Show Data and then dive into things like clicks, conversion rate, conversions as a raw number, impression data, and so on. And you can narrow the scope of these results as well. I'm looking at lifetime, as you'll notice through that sort and filter, but I can narrow it a bit if I wanted to look at a 30-day snapshot and review some of the data from there. Now you do have a few other options here as well. So when you're looking at these keywords, identifying opportunities and next steps, if you wanted to, let's say, snooze the suggestion for matching, negative matching that keyword, you could do that, or you could ignore the suggestion altogether. Now keep in mind, what you're doing here is you're telling PPCS, based on these rules, this target ACOS, I want to see keywords that are not in line or performing based on those inputs. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the defaults for quick negative matcher is exceeding 100% ACOS or having 2 clicks without any sales. So very intuitive there. These are truly underperforming, suboptimal keywords that you should rightfully be making decisions on. Now you're thinking, okay, I know that these are keywords that more often than not, search terms that I need to negative exact match in bulk. Now you can easily do that. If you notice again, the negative exact column here, you simply click bulk apply, and every one of those search terms are negative exact match in 1 click, and it's done on a per page basis. But as easy as that, based on the rules, setting a very clear criteria, we're cutting waste by removing search terms that are underperforming. Again, through the show reason column, you have full visibility into why these search terms aren't cutting it. They're adding waste to our spend, they're unfruitful, and we should take the next steps to make sure that we easily add those to negative exact match. Now you do have the ability, again, to negative phrase match those if you're a little bit more advanced with PPC and kind of want to diversify your inputs with respect to some of the opportunities here. Just as easy to do that as well. We also have the ability to toggle just auto campaigns. So if you're harvesting and making decisions with respect to auto campaigns that you're running, the same functionality is in place here, where if I scroll down just a little bit, we've got the search term from a source of running an auto campaign here from this ad group, the last click visibility. You can take a look again at some of the graph data, current bid, and then again, the reason as to why this is in our quick negative matcher is that it has 2 clicks with no sales. So we can see our spend, clicks, no sales, and effectively an infinite ACOS because we've got no sales, no return on our $2.72 investment. So quick negative matcher is really kind of an elegant way to get right to the waste in your PPC efforts. So I'd love for you guys to shoot me some questions on this because it's really meant to be a straightforward process, right? You can filter down some of this data. Let's say you have an account where the clicks are really obscene and you want to filter that down. So let's say we set a filter of clicks where, let's say it's lifetime. It is, let's say maybe less than or equal to 30, let's say. So you've seen a ton of clicks, you've realized no sales, and your ACOS is effectively infinite. You can filter it down. Now, mind you, again, with this sample account, hopefully I don't have too many. Oh, and I guess since it's under 30 clicks, it'll display it. I could, of course, just sort by clicks as well. to take a look. But keep that in mind. If you're really underperforming, if you haven't taken these types of steps to cut waste in your current PPC efforts, this is about as low-hanging fruit as it gets, because you upload, sync, review your negative matches, see those keywords that again have exceeded 100% ACOS or have 2 clicks and no sales, and now you're ready again to make those decisions, filtering the data if you really want to narrow the scope of your results right from there. And I think I'm getting a question about 2 clicks seems very low. Now you can update these settings, right? You can manage this, but what we would encourage you to do is really think about, are you in a more advanced with some of your PPC efforts? And also, do you want it on your radar first before you make a decision? Now that could be something where it's at 3 clicks, is it 4 clicks? That range might be really tight in terms of how many you update and set for your max clicks without sales. But I think 2 is a really great starting point to, again, get it on your radar, have visibility, and really get acclimated to using Quick Negative Matcher and making some of these decisions within your account. But as I have pulled up here, this gives you an idea of the settings that you can create for Quick Negative Matcher. So you can have max cost without sales. So you can set like a ceiling for that, where what am I willing to spend and realize as a cost without any sales. The max clicks, as we've touched on, defaulting to 2, but you can move that up to 3, move that up to 4. But 2 is sort of just making sure that everything ends up on your radar effectively, right? Because if it pops up in your Quick Negative Matcher, you can review it, you can analyze it, and then make some decisions. Max ACOS is really the same way in terms of it just setting a threshold to make sure, hey, is this something I'm willing to realize spending, or a ACOS exceeding 100%? That's really quite high, and so it is very intuitive to kind of leave it there, review the results, and then make some decisions. And then recent days ignored, this is available to you, but again, it's another one where I would encourage keeping it as a default. It ignores effectively recent clicks for the most recent days. So set to 3 days that are effectively ignored in terms of the results. So if you want to see more performance, see more results, you can ignore a window of time there. So that's how you update the settings right within Quick Negative Matcher itself. I'm going to click off of auto only, so we take a look at all of the effectively suboptimal keywords that we can make some decisions on. And this visibility, again, whether it's data that I want to dive into, based on some of the results and based on some of the performance, having visibility into the reason as to why it has been provided to us and we're ready to make some decisions on. And then, of course, you can take a look at both term, search term, and source keyword, where this arrived from, to then make some decisions from there. But Quick Negative Matcher is really meant to dive right in, again, to cutting that waste, suboptimal performance. Create your rules here. Again, if you feel comfortable, you feel like you can deploy this with a little bit more know-how, you feel like you have a little bit more better grasp on PPC, this is where you can dial in. You're kind of tweaking each part and piece to saying, okay, this is the filter from which the results are presented to me, and then I make some decisions as to what keywords or search terms need to be negative exact matched or negative phrased. So just as simple and as easy as that. So again, we can kind of get into the weeds if you wanted to look at some of the other functionality in terms of things like making changes, reverting changes. You will see this once you get into your Seller.Tools account and start making some updates on the fly. But to be honest with you, in beta testing, some initial users, they really understood the idea and the concept of cutting waste. So when you get in here, see the results, see that based on the rules that you've set, you have all of these potential search terms to negative exact. It was very easy for them to come in and say, well, bulk apply. I've set those rules. I set them for a reason. Bulk apply those negative exact match to these search terms that are underperforming, cutting my waste and making my PPC spend more efficient, more effective, right? So I'm checking with you guys if you got any questions. When you negative match, are they added to your negative keywords? When you negative match, are they added to your negative for the ad at the campaign level? That's correct. Yep. So when you negative exact, it is at the campaign level. Cool. So that gives you an idea of quick negative matcher, one of the first steps that you want to take once you get into PPCS, because again, based on that criteria, these search terms will be preloaded. You'll have an opportunity to review these and make some decisions from there. Now, if you don't want to jump right into quick negative matching, even though that's recommended, because you have the ability to exact keyword pause through exact keyword pauser. Really similar functionality here where we're looking at keywords and making some decisions as to whether we want to pause, snooze based on our suggestions, or ignore the suggestion altogether. So again here, if I scroll down in this view, we can take a look at the reason as to why this keyword, this exact match keyword, is here for us to make a decision on. Or I can also take a look at some of the additional data here from sales, click-through rate, conversion rate, cost per click, and so on, and make some decisions from here. Now, again, pausing keywords is going to be different than quick negative matching. When you negative exact match a keyword, then you will not see it again. Pausing is a totally different step. And again, this is where we get into, if you're feeling comfortable and confident with a few more advanced strategies, this is an option to you. But effectively, it's still that rule-based visibility into potential decisions you can make with your PPC efforts. And if you want to dive in as well in terms of the keywords themselves, if you click on the keywords, you can dive into to prior performance. This is a relatively new keyword here, but if you wanted to juxtapose this things like clicks to sales in terms of graph data, you could just as easily do that. You could adjust the bid here based on the suggestion that we're providing here in PPCS, and it's just as easy as clicking adjust bid, taking that suggestion, and you can apply it right here. And again, reviewing and analyzing that performance over time. There's not much insight here for this particular keyword, but that's something, again, you could dive right into as you're evaluating decisions you want to make for each keyword there. So I really like, again, quick negative matcher as the de facto option. If you negative match keywords, you can still have visibility once they have been updated or pushed as changes to Seller Central as a running log in all negative keywords. So you can look at the negative keywords, the match type, the campaign, ad group, and then the date that it was added, as well as removing or effectively archiving it in Seller Central. So quick negative matcher really gets you right off on the right foot, where you're making sure that you're narrowing your spend, you're being very calculated with your budget, and effectively cutting waste. So I'm hoping you guys are enjoying us kind of diving into that a little bit more. If you've got any questions, do let me know. Like I said, I wanted to not necessarily get into the weeds because this is really meant to be very straightforward. This is something that somebody who's just starting out with PPC, the idea of figuring out, hey, where am I wasting spend, and how can I do that in a very efficient manner? Quick negative matcher is a really great way to be able to do that effectively. Now I want to jump right into the keyword extractor. So if we've addressed cutting waste through quick negative matching, we have the keyword extractor to use to find and harvest some of those opportunities. So I'm going to hop over to that in the navigation. And what this is going to do is let me see search terms that have provided me at least one sale. It's essentially telling me, hey, there might be some opportunity for these search terms based on their performance. So the same functionality is at play here in terms of the UI, very uniform, not a lot of, again, extra bells and whistles to have to try to understand. Effectively, we're still looking at what converting search term based on the source keyword coming from which campaign and ad group can we make some decisions on. Now what we want to do, because we have discovered opportunities, is create a unique campaign for these keywords. And the way that we recommend doing this, let's go ahead and walk through an example, because I have created a campaign for this product in particular, and this is where you're seeing some of the suggestions that we provide to you based on really the strategic way we'd recommend isolating some of these keywords and running campaigns through Keyword Extractor. So let's go ahead and do a fresh example here. So RDIF passport protectors based on this source keyword, so we can see what campaign this is arriving from, which ad group, keyword, and match type, and a 45-cent bid. It has shown up in our keyword extractor because it has converted one time. So it looks like we've got a pretty good amount of, let's see, sales. ACOS is really solid. We've got some clicks there as well. Let me get some additional data in here. Conversions, impression data, conversion rate. So let's go ahead and create and set a target campaign for that keyword. Now, this is how you're going to set up a brand new campaign within PPCS when you have found a unique keyword opportunity. What we recommend is effectively to run sort of a discovery campaign, running an exact match. So we know we have a winning keyword. It's converted us, it's provided us a sale. It's performing. We're going to run a phrase match, a broad match, and then negatively match the keyword in the phrase and the broad match campaign. So let's walk through a prime example. So I'm going to create a new campaign. The product name I'm going to name it is, let's go ahead and do RDIF passport sample. We have the default budgets here, but we can update those as needed. So we have the exact campaign, we've got the phrase campaign, we have the broad campaign, and we can update each budget individually. And we can source as a negative this keyword. Now we have a few options how in which we can do that. We can source as a negative when the ACOS is over the target campaign, which is recommended, or you can always source it as a negative, or you could never source it as a negative. Now, again, I would recommend it as a default, sourcing it as a negative when the ACOS is over the target, okay? So we can create that campaign. And once that is done and set, it's going to migrate over to our product group configuration view. And what does that look like? I'm going to hop over there real quick under ad settings and give you a look at a sample campaign that I've created. It's this wallet passport. So I'm jumping over into the product configuration view, but this is another way in which you can manage some of your campaigns. Those not familiar with product groups, they're sort of a level above campaigns. It's a unique classification where you can group. Let's say you have winning or top ASINs. You can group those in a product group, segment them, and create a unique target, unique budget behind those product groups. But effectively, the steps that we just took, that's going to populate and carry over here to our product group name for a brand new campaign. And we'd have the same level of visibility here in the name, the ASINs that are within the product group, the campaigns themselves. Now I took on the same structure when I created that RFID example, created the same structure in the campaign where I have an exact, I've got a broad and a phrase, and I also have the negative match included in there as well. And so you have visibility into the ad groups, the campaigns, everything that has been configured right from there. And then the target ACOS. Now, a reminder, one of the first things, and you'll see this as soon as you sync up your PPCS account, setting your target ACOS is really important. You can do that globally. So you can do that here in global settings. Again, we're in ad settings here. You can set up your target ACOS that's applied to all of your product group names, or you can do that on an individual basis here as well. But of course, it's always better over time, and as you really get acclimated to PPC, to isolate, to really narrow, segment those campaigns and product groups to where you really dial in your performance. When you're more selective, when the focus is more narrow, you really have a lot of opportunity to make sure that there's no wasteful spend. You're focusing purely on optimization, and that's really going to bring me to the next feature that I want to highlight for you guys through the bid optimizer. Now, I'm really running through things because I know exactly what I'm looking at. I want to know from you guys what else I can touch on. I'm going to jump over to bid optimizer, but we've touched on quick negative matcher. We've taken a look at keyword extractor. We're here in the product group configuration view, and these again are different product groups that have been created, segmented, that have different ASINs included. We've got campaign visibility here in terms of what's been configured. the ad groups here as well. And I did not do you guys a favor by not really cleaning up some of these naming conventions in this demo account. So for that, I apologize. But hopefully in your account, doing a really great job of setting up an intuitive structure for your naming convention, so it's clear to you as to what's included in each piece. That hierarchy is really clear, and it's really easy to understand. So with that, I'm going to hop over into Bid Optimizer, because cutting waste is really the responsibility of Quick Negative Matcher. Keyword Extractor is going to help us find new opportunities and scale those. Bid Optimizer is really all about setting the rules and cultivating that optimization over time, really refining the performance of your keywords across a variety of campaigns. Now, this is really where, again, using filtering, you can take a look at things that like very specific campaigns you want to clean up, or more specific performance. Has spend got out of hand, or ACOS gotten out of hand for particular keywords, and you want to make sure that day you get those cleaned up, you've got those optimized and refined for performance. But Bid Optimizer, very similar to Quick Negative Matcher, is really intuitive. It's not really meant for you to spend a lot of extra time. If you've set those rules, you can see here the keyword, how long it's been running, and again, we track last changed, its current bid, and then our new or suggested bid based on the reason. This reason column is really important. It really identifies for you, hey, why am I looking at this keyword or this search term? And it's often because of the rules that you've set. And it's created a trigger, it's identified as a reason, and shared here, so that way you can make an informed decision as to what you'd like to do next. In the same way as Quick Negative Matcher, if you're thinking, man, I want to do this really quick, I'm letting this tool do all the heavy lifting, I just want to bulk apply. If you click bulk apply, all the new bids that we suggest based on the reason, based on your filter or rules being set, is applied to all of those keywords. So you may be asking yourself, well, Troy, can I come in here and spend 2 minutes and be done optimizing and refining my keywords? I could honestly tell you, yes, it's just that quick and easy. You have set up the rules, the automation's in place, everything is now visible to you, and then bulk applying is as simple and easy as that. And I'm actually going to do that for these campaigns because I want to just share with you just how really quick and easy that is. You can undo any of those changes. So honestly, you could come in here, make those changes, review them, and feel like, well, you know, maybe I want to keep an eye on a specific keyword, a specific phrase. You can just as easily do that. But the beauty in this is its simplicity and how straightforward it can be to refine your campaign performance and ensure that you're optimizing and refining over time. Really simple process to be able to do that. Then we've got auto campaigns under Bid Optimizer. Again, this is one where keeping an eye on auto campaign performance, where we're looking at harvesting keywords, new keyword opportunities. We want to make this just as simple as the more general Bid Optimizer. We're looking at broad phrase, exact performance. Same functionality comes into play here. Based on the reason or the trigger rules that we've set in our account, we can make some decisions as to what new bids, if we'd like to take that step. Or you could snooze or ignore the suggestion based on the reason. And you're going to find that that's not very common. You're not going to set a rule and then sort of ignore it. If so, you need to revisit that just as well to make sure what you're reviewing in auto campaigns, auto campaigns through Bid Optimizer, that your time is well spent here reviewing opportunities. So again, if I sort and filter by ACOS, I know, hey, okay, what terms, what campaigns are generating for me a less than stellar performance? What opportunities do I have to change, even incremental? Some of these recommended changes are just 1 cent, but if that positively impacts, if that makes me another $50, $100 based on my spend, based on my budget, I'm going to go ahead and bulk apply and feel good about those changes based on the rules that I've set. Again, continuing to review reasons. And again, for those that really like to dive into the data, this is accessible to you. It's just really set up in such a way that you're not inundated with so much data as to kind of get blurry eyes as you're reviewing performance and making some decisions from there. And that's a quick look at Bid Optimizer as well. I'm going to take another quick look. If you guys have any questions for me, we are just clipping right along now. We have touched on Quick Native Matcher. We took a look at Keyword Extractor, Bid Optimizer. Holy cow. Love hearing that, MV. In the Bid Optimizer for product targeting, can you update to search by ASIN? Samurai doesn't do that. For product targeting, I think that is to be coming as well, Brennan. You probably touched on something that is still somewhat in the works, but won't change in terms of access, or like there's not an upsell, and you guys are going to see exactly why I love not only its simplicity and how you do things in 2 minutes, but how we've really tried to set this up in such a way that yeah, it's for sellers by sellers. I think you'll really see that. So Quick Native Matcher we touched on, Keyword Extractor for opportunities, Bid Optimizer for refinement, and making sure that we're optimizing over time. I want to dive into a few things that I really love, and this gets to be a bit more advanced, but as you get that foundation set with PPCS, realize those quick wins, save $100 here, $1,000 there, you can jump into things like your task list. Now, tasks are kind of ways in which you can create unique actions or sort of unique rules, and this is where you take your PPC just kind of to another level. Now, in the task list, I'm going to click select product to schedule, and what we are going to do is pick from our product group. This is important, why segmenting is so important. We're going to pick a product group name, and we're going to create or set a task. If I click on task, we've got a few fun things to do here. Now, day parting, very desirable feature, usually costs way too much to be able to deploy something like this, available to you now with PPCS. And we got two different really easy and clean ways to be able to configure this. So we've got day parting with dates, so days of the week, times of the day, time zone, keeping in mind it is in LA time, so keep that in mind for your respective time. And it's just as easy as clicking a few boxes to be able to configure your day parting schedule. Now, those not familiar with day parting, it's effectively reviewing opportunities, sales, and PPC performance to see when your performance is best during different times of day, different days of the week, and configuring your PPC accordingly. And this is where it's really powerful to get into some of your reports in Seller Central to see if you can get that level of visibility, or if there is seasonality considerations, or if there is product considerations. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into play there. That's why it's a little bit more advanced, but your ability to access this is most important. So clicking the boxes will effectively pause with the red color coding there. Will pause this product group for this schedule, and simply by creating that task, it is good to go. Now, those that like a little bit different view for being able to configure your day parting, you can do it just as easy as that for choosing a time when it starts under this column, and then choosing a start effectively when it ends in this column. So whether it's minute of hour, hour of the day that it's running, days of the month, which month it runs, you can really narrow or broaden that as needed to be able to leverage day parting functionality right within PPCS. So very powerful. Again, you guys are probably used to seeing this for 500, 1,000, a very, very high investment for a little bit more advanced feature. You're going to love that that's not the case. So let's dive right into Ad Boost. This is another really cool feature and functionality. Let's say you're running a lightning deal and you want to throw more PPC spend to really elevate the performance of that lightning deal. You're throwing everything at Amazon, whether it's signals, page interactions, sales, conversions. You're throwing everything at Amazon, and Ad Boost really helps you to be able to do that. So if you want to realize a bump, a boost in top of search increase, you can do that and configure it right here in your account. You can increase your keyword bid. You can make sure during that period of time, I want to spend a little bit more because, hey, I want to make sure I'm very visible. I'm giving Amazon everything it wants and making the most out of lightning deals. And that's just one use case. Think of other examples where you might want to, are you doing a giveaway, a discounted giveaway, rebates, other things that again are increasing your page interactions in a period of time where it would benefit a boost in your PPC efforts. So really, really powerful feature and functionality here. You can increase campaign budget and bidding strategy. All very easy to do. Same way in which we configured our day parting, we can do that here as well. It's so easy. I almost said it's so easy a caveman can do it, but sure, let's say that. It's just really straightforward for you to be able to configure this and be able to selectively increase your PPC efforts in a strategic way. And that's really, really powerful. And that's really why I wanted to start with things like Quick Negative Matcher. That's something where somebody just starting can kind of come in and say, wait, I set a rule, I'm seeing keywords or search terms, and I just need to hit bulk apply. Like they can realize that return in 5-10 minutes. It's such a quick way to do it. And then once you have that foundation, get in here and do things like updating, setting different tasks, really bolstering some of your PPC efforts and getting very strategic with it. And for agency providers, a lot of consultants, they love this type of functionality because it really excites clients when you're doing really selective things and out of the box things. And if you're saving them money, you're not spending $1,000 on a PPC tool and like you get it all in one. Like you're doing a lot of really cool things to deliver that unique value to your clients. So pretty cool stuff that we can do through task lists. So again, guys, drop some questions for me as we keep going, but we're just diving right into everything. Hopefully you're starting to see some of the power of PPCS. Next, I'm going to jump into bulk keyword editor, and it literally is that. It's a bulk way in which you can manage a large number of keywords. You can segment, filter these keywords. The default here in terms of the view is our date of last change, but of course we can filter and sort by different date ranges, lifetime view, or take a customized view of performance. But of course, highly recommended that you schedule, get your PPC review and analysis on a scheduled basis to be able to really routinize that, make the most of it, and really leverage your PPC on Amazon. So what we're taking a look at here in this view, let me see if I can sort and filter. Helps if I spell it right. I thought I had a passport campaign, maybe I didn't. Let's go ahead and do the default view. And let's take a look at a lot of infinite ACOS and a lot of high ACOS. So a few keywords that we can take a look at here. But effectively, what we can do is filter. We can bulk edit, add, change keywords from here. I love this view of being able to narrow down to the keyword level and review that past and historical performance. I mean, this is really when you're getting into how keywords are looking and performing over time. So I like to dive into this, again, based on your comfort and your ability to really understand and synthesize this data. Be willing to take a look at the top level view, but you can again dive in and take a look at the performance over time. Because this account was synced relatively recently, we've got a really pretty tight window here of performance. But again, my de facto search is I look at clicks and sales. I want to know what are my clicks looking like relative to sales. If I have a sales spike, what's at play here? Can I isolate it? Is it something I'm well aware of? But this keyword level visibility is really cool right within bulk keyword editor. And of course, you can select multiple keywords to make changes, whether you want to adjust bids, you want to pause keywords that are currently active and running, enable those that are paused, or archive keywords as well. So it's really just kind of a clean way to set your cross section of time, what date range you want to view and what visibility you want to have, identifying and segmenting based on filters. You've got plenty of filters and options here to take a look at, whether it's by different match types. So if you want to just narrow down to phrase, broad, you're able to do that. The way that I would really approach it, if I were taking a look at and making sure keywords that I'm overbidding on, very aggressive with, maybe I've run an ad boost on, taking a look at the ACOS of those, feeling comfortable and confident with that. But effectively, it just gives you a really clean, easy way to review and make bulk changes to keywords from there. I'm going to go ahead and deselect those. And let's hop over into analytics. So here in campaign level view, we took a look at in ad settings, the product group configuration and campaigns. As you can imagine from analytics, this is some of the more straightforward stuff. Again, as a seller, I evaluate analytics, but the stuff that I geek out on is stuff that's going to make me money, right? And so not to downplay the importance of analytics, but reviewing it, setting up your time, analyzing it to understand where your opportunities lie. you do have this top level visibility to see your campaigns that are currently running, reviewing your placement, performance at those different placements, whether it's top of search, detail page, and reviewing those against one another. And then the graph data is always really nice and fun to see if you're running some of those campaigns over time. So of course I would come in here, sales to clicks, as you guys are getting a sense of what I like to search and filter by, and then reviewing and analyzing that that graph data as well. Awesome. I'm keeping an eye on your guys' questions, so do keep them coming. Is it ready for product targeting campaigns? It is not currently ready, Antonio. We will definitely keep you guys updated on that, but not currently ready for product targeting campaigns. So definitely will keep you posted. So again, from analytics, we can look at campaigns, campaign placements, campaign budgets. And again, I don't want to necessarily, we don't necessarily have to get into the weeds. I want to make sure when you guys get access, you can dive into all of these parts and pieces. But these may be some of the more general things where you're reviewing analytics in your PPC efforts. Of course, I'm a big fan of making sure that you've got a firm grasp on your search term analytics. You can narrow down some of your results, run a search against some of the search terms groupings here as well. And just making sure, again, you've got a really firm grasp on what's driving your performance, keeping tabs on that, as well as converting search terms, right? And this is where it's really powerful to have this interplay between what's converting pay-to-play insights, PPCS performance, and being able to easily export, bring over those search terms into really into any other reporting that you do, Seller.Tools in general, if you want to bring that over and have the TSI visibility, just as easy as that. And so we've got then converting ASINs, if you want to export that data, and then any change history. This is another big thing where we want to make sure everybody has the ability to easily review and ensure that you have that log, that running log of changes that you've made, so you can feel very confident because the changes you make here are updated dynamically. The only delay is the one that Amazon will impose through the advertising API, but that's usually relatively short. But it's important for you to have that accessibility to see some of the changes you made, feel confident in the changes you're making, and be able to access that here as well. One thing I want to touch on with you guys is that we have really made sure that the walkthroughs for how you leverage PPCS are immensely straightforward. We of course are going to have additional content based on the feedback that we get from you guys, the questions that we get. We'd like to have that as user user feedback driving the information, the walkthroughs, the contents, the lives. But what you're really going to find, and this is why it's kind of a neat and clean view, is that it's a 4-step process to get started. We narrow down some of the walkthroughs for each of the subsequent features, for Quick Negative Matcher, for Keyword Extractor, and for Bid Optimizer. And you're going to find that once you set up things like your target ACOS, run through Quick Negative Matcher the first time, you're going to feel really confident with being able to utilize this over time, because it's just really a really powerful way to consolidate some of your most important and highest value activities. So I'm going to hop back over. I'm going to wait, and if you guys have any other questions, do send them through in the chat, and I'm going to make sure I'll tackle those. And I'm going to hop back into what else I've got for you in terms of PPCS and its release today. So what I want to really stress for you guys, what you get, again, for less than $100, one Benjamin Franklin, as I alluded to, it was really important for us when we developed and really brought PPCS to market, is that we wanted to make sure it was something that we would want to use as sellers, and that we would feel comfortable and confident with the level of investment that it required. And so what I think we delivered is a really exceptional ROI for our users ultimately, because we know there's options out there where it's just lonely old PPC. You're investing heavily in a single solution to really drive performance for your business, and it can feel a little underwhelming. It can feel like a crying emoji face, and that's really I think a change in the landscape, a change in the opportunity for sellers as they look for. We've heard the demands in terms of giving more and more value, trying to really deliver on an all-in-one solution without losing the advanced pieces, making sure we're not a maintenance platform, we're a results platform. And that's what's really important, especially when it comes to PPC. We knew so many people were investing hundreds and thousands of dollars in a PPC standalone solution, and that's why we were really excited to realize the opportunity with PPCS. One of the other really important things for us as sellers was making sure that the investment that you made, you didn't necessarily feel like the traditional pricing model for PPC tools was going to be applied here. Because what is often the case is that as you grow your business, somehow you find yourself spending more on a PPC tool. And as sellers, we find that really kind of obnoxious and kind of annoying because we don't really see a reason for it, right? So I'm doing better. You have maybe some revenue not to attribute to my success, but you're going to charge me more for using your tool. And we really weren't big fans of that. And that was a big reason why we isolated flat rate pricing as what we wanted to do for PPCS. It was a prime example of our seller understanding the things that we find as pet peeves showing up and being part of our delivery of a PPC automation solution. And again, the big thing we always want to make sure we deliver on is that it feels like, and we can confidently say we're delivering the tools of the 1% through the power, through the sophistication, the understanding, and the results of our team that can show up in our platform and give our users as sellers that unique competitive advantage in the marketplace. And so again, with the backdrop of everything else that we've just released, really in the last 2 weeks, I'm very excited that this is now in addition to the Seller.Tools platform. You've got expert level keyword research, exclusive metrics, the most accurate revenue and sales, alerts, you've got the API, all of this available to Seller.Tools users right now. And really what we always want to stress, and this is something that's important because we hear that demand for an all-in-one solution, is we want to make sure at Seller.Tools you're not going to find any non-features. We're not going to have a trend tool when Google Trends exists. We're not going to have a dedupe tool when you can get that for free online. That's not going to be our philosophy or approach. So you can really bet on us that you're going to have no non-features in our platform, because if it's free, why should you pay? Why should you pay for that as a solution if your concern is that am I using a maintenance type tool or solution instead of something that's really going to 2x, 5x, and 10x my business, or effectively wasting your time? We still know sellers that manually check their index. If you're effectively hourly rate, if you want to be a 7-figure seller, your effective hourly rate has to be in line with that. You can't be spending time doing things that maybe a VA can do, and then you're spending money on a VA when a tool can, it gets to be very complicated unnecessarily. And that's what's so important for us, again, is that our features and our tool and our platform can't have any of those non-features because we want to drive so much value to our users. So with the addition of PPCS, you're probably wondering, okay, I know that it's available now. I can get access. What does it look like for Seller.Tools users and you today? So on the Lite plan, there is no access for PPCS. Unfortunately, that would have been quite a release if we made available everything that we offer and PPCS. So I'm sorry to say the insanely low rate that is Lite, PPCS will not be available. But at starter level, those that are already in the starter level plan, you don't have to do anything but make a single click to start using PPCS today. The two features that you will not have access to is the bulk keyword editor and the task list. So that's something you want to keep in mind if you want more advanced features functionality. But I should preface that by saying quick negative matcher, bid optimizer, and keyword extractor, we hit on our big three. You guys remember, right? Cutting waste, finding new opportunities, and optimizing to win. You can do that with your starter level access with the features and functionality that are available to you. If you fall in love with things like day parting, ad boost, keep in mind that's about the level of investment from going up to starter to pro is about $100 a month. That's not with any coupon codes or anything like that. Moving up that level, if you're already paying for lightning deals, if you're already spending that, you're already investing that level, I would highly encourage you to look at that level of plan if it makes sense for your business and that level of access gives you a competitive advantage. Super important. We often overlook, we see, oh man, this is going to be another $50, but then we realize we have $50 in wasted ad spend yesterday, and that's really what's important about considering your investment in tools and solutions and safeguarding your time. So, Lite, there is no access for PPCS. For starter, you get Analytics Dashboard, you get Bid Optimizer, Quick Native Matcher, and Keyword Extractor, covering our big 3 must-haves for PPC Automation. And for Pro and Up, you get the whole shebang. You get every part and piece of PPC S, as well as all of the features and functionality within Seller.Tools. All 5 of the most recent releases that we've dropped in the last 2 weeks. Full API, you get unlimited alerts, you get all of this access for PPCS, and you're not going to be nickeled and dimed if you grow your business with us. That's such an important thing for you to keep in mind, leveraging PPCS in your business. So, again, this is available right now in your Seller.Tools account. PPCS is going to be found right under Prism, as you probably saw me hopping into the navigation. Man, I'm noticing it is getting really dark here. I just cannot plan well enough for the Orlando night. So I apologize, guys. It looks like I'm like a guy in the shadows. But hop back in. PPCS available right now in your Seller.Tools account, and that's what's really exciting. This is something where we're not adding any extra expense. Same thing with just dropping Prism. Seller.Tools users, I can confidently say, are getting just a ton of unique value. They're not having to add any extra steps or feel like, oh, I've got to invest in an annual plan, and then you feel guilty because you're like, oh, this tool's better, but I'm 3 months into my we don't like adding in a lot of those extra steps, because that's really what that's meant to do. It's meant to tie you down and not give you the latitude as a seller to figure out what best solutions are for your business. That's not to say we won't have an annual plan to give unique savings, but we're not going to inject it into new releases and more value to burden you with that, because again, we're sellers. We know what bothers us. When we see those offers, it can really grind your gears to see versus just give me the value, let me make a decision. And that's really what I'm going to encourage you guys to do, is that now that you've seen it, you kind of gotten a taste for it, you're going to hop into your account and see how easy it is to navigate, why we don't have to spend hours and hours going over it. It's really meant to not make you spend hours and hours to make a lot of money through PPC automation. And that's, again, what's really exciting about it. Because the way I would really put it is that you can effectively win PPC for the cost of what you're losing today, where your PPC is, whether it's slippage, there's seepage in your PPC, where there's missed opportunities, there is that waste, there is that bloat, there's the under optimization, there's so many boxes that are left unchecked that you can put those highest value in the forefront, use a very specific feature, leveraging those rules, and really starting to win with your PPC efforts from there. So I do see a few quick questions. I'm going to jump into those before I allude to the 14-day free trial. So give me one quick second, guys. All right, I'm going to start from, let's see, Antonio's question, syncing your Amazon account. Been 15 minutes. It can take, it will not take you any longer than, for even like the biggest accounts, we haven't seen anything longer than about 2 hours. So if that gives you a range, just give it plenty of time. We're using the Amazon advertising API, so it has sometimes its own time limits in mind, but usually does not take too long. But of course, reach out to our support if you have any questions or you need any support there. Should we expect the automation moving when for an auto? Can I connect it? I have accounts. How does the connection work? Yes, so that's one thing to keep in mind. This is account specific right now. So you will want to reach out to us. If you have a number of marketplaces, we will work with you and our support to make sure that you are configured and good to go, because it is credential specific to the PPCS account. So we will work with you to make sure that we have you set up and really set up for success. But if there is quite a few, we have been kind of overseeing the migration of accounts to make sure you are good to go. And does PPC automatically adjust bids based on the rules? The only step you'll have to take is that bulk apply. So when you go in there and configure your rules, you may find over time there is not much in the way that you have to check based on, again, your filters and rules really dictate what your results look like. So you can really refine them and make them very narrow or more aggressive. And then you might have, again, a few more negative matches, negative exact matches to make, or bulk applications to take advantage of. But that's really it. It's really meant to be one-click updates based on those rules that you have configured. Awesome, great questions. Reports with you, so useful. Day parting, love that. Holy cow, it's fantastic. Yes. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. And I love that we are not making any changes to pricing plans. I think this is going to be absolutely impossible to beat, to be totally candid with you. If you haven't seen our API, we've just done some really cool things to make sure we've got the advanced pieces, the foundational pieces. If you're still checking, manually checking index, you're not valuing your time, you're using a VA when a tool would suffice. Like, we want to make sure we've got the extremes covered, so it's a full spectrum. And now with PPC, there's just not a lot of boxes left unchecked, I think, for you guys. Not necessarily, Antonio. So you would make that update in PPCS to negative exact match. So not to say that that's not future functionality, and let us know. One thing I mentioned on the Prism release, and I would encourage here as well, in your Seller.Tools account, when you guys dive in, navigate down to the bottom left, you're going to find feature request. I want to make sure that you guys know we keep a very close eye on what our users want. I really can't say that strongly enough. So, when we put things together like Keyword Insights, our team's inputs, it's user inputs that arrive at, okay, well, let's develop this exclusive data. Let's really put some time and energy behind it to deliver that type of solution. So same goes with PPCS. If you guys have feedback or ways in which you want the data presented or changes that you'd like to see, this is something we like to get your feedback, aggregate it, and have that turn around and show up in the platform. Awesome. Cool. So when you do sync up your account, this is going to be the first view you see. I'm going to encourage you, take the time to review each step that we've outlined for each step. And you can dive into Quick Negative Matcher, where it lets you know exactly what it does. Again, negative matching to cut waste. You can review a little bit more in-depth steps for it as well. But it's as easy as what we've touched on in terms of reviewing based on the default settings, which I've left, and you guys have seen where we can update that, of exceeding 100% ACOS or 2 clicks and no sales, and confirmed as much by the reason here, and then being able to make subsequent decisions, whether we want a negative exact, negative phrase, we want to bulk apply negative exact to all search terms on this page, and go from there. Auto only. And it's as easy as that. And I'm gonna have a little bit of fun. Once we wrap up, I think I'm gonna get into this count and really start to kind of clean things up a little bit. I left it a little bit dirty just to kind of sort of test myself a little bit. But one of the things, again, you guys will start to see is that your filters are another great way to really narrow the scope. Those that are coming in with a lot of data, have really broad, tons of search terms, are running a lot of campaigns. Utilize those filters to great effect. And then I think one thing I actually failed to mention is even just creating a brand new campaign. So you can easily do that here in ad settings under creating campaign set. And this is a very seamless and clean flow. So you can create the product group name. So I'm going to just go quick test here, group name test. Configure the budget. auto product targeting. If it's a manual campaign, you can identify match types here. Select exact phrase and broad and phrase. Exact phrase and broad. Can't talk. Inputting SKUs for this product group name. 1 per each line. Adding those there. We can configure our bidding strategy. So we can do custom bids, minimum suggested, Amazon suggested, or top range suggested. Configuring max bid, and then even dialing in for different match type the different bids. Then we've got keywords and targeting. Then you can, of course, add in negative keywords and negative product targeting. But again, you guys will dive into this. I just want to make sure we touched on it because those configuring brand new campaigns, once you find opportunities, you, of course, will be diving in here and configuring them in a few quick steps, a total of 7 steps to knock out, configure your campaigns. And what I'm really excited about now, this really opens up a new world for us in terms of content to share some strategy with PPC when it comes to those 3 things that we've touched on, keyword isolation, segmenting keywords, really getting creative with the negative match, all kinds of fun stuff that we can do. But right from the outset, I think this is going to give you such a massive leg up to the competition, and consolidate and save you some money at the same time, and make sure that if you grow with us with PPCS, you're not building that resentment and saying, wait, I'm generating revenue everywhere else, including PPC, and why am I spending more on a PPC tool, right? All right, guys, let's see. If you have any other questions for me, I want to make sure I field those. But if not, I really was trying to keep it under an hour. Shucks. Because I really love showcasing how intuitive a lot of our things are. So I get to talking and I I just say too many things. But we could have gotten away with an hour. That's the important thing. Great tools and info. Thanks. Awesome. Yes, love to hear it. Hope you're excited about getting in there. Existing Seller.Tools users, it is ready for you to go to sync your data. Reach out to us with any questions. Drop any questions and comments in below the video as well. We'd love to field those. But I'm going to hop back over here and remind those that are not current Seller.Tools users, you have a 14-day free trial waiting for you. Again, what we've done here, if you're brand new to us, is that we haven't added any more expense to our users. We're not asking any more of a expense to brand new folks that are joining us. We want you to take full advantage for free. Yes, you have free access to PPCS as part of your 14-day trial. Kick the tires, evaluate your ROI, negative match some keywords, take full advantage, see the value, and then make a determination if it's a good fit for your business. We don't want to strong arm anybody. We want to make sure it's something where you feel really good about your investment. It's showing up in your bottom line, and it's really helping to safeguard your time as well. Reminders again, for those that are not familiar with our Seller.Tools resources, take a look at the Academy. This is available in your Seller.Tools account. You're going to find it in the app as well, right down here. If you navigate to that, it's going to bring you to additional videos, resources, coaching calls. Our 7-figure coaching team is exceptional. It's kind of an underutilized resource for many, because we often find that once people get in there, it's actually very easy for us to get testimonials, because every single person that comes through the coaching program has exceptional things to say. They've been pointed in the right direction. They've figured out what was their missteps, and were able to resolve some of those things. But not to dive too far into that, but again, Academy, some resources that you can find totally free and take full advantage of. FBA Kings, another great Facebook community of our Facebook group, FBA Kings. Encourage you to interact with us there. We try to really be engaging admins. I do everything I can to make sure we're trying to drive really free value, and hopefully that would benefit you as well. And I'm seeing just a few other questions. Hey man, this is amazing. Do I have a quick question? How often does PPCS sync data from Amazon? There's at least once daily major sync, but then it breaks down per some of the features and functionality. We have a FAQs that's about to be posted, and it's going to be a lot easier than me rattling those off. So Jonathan, I'll make sure that you see that. That's very apparent, but that will be dropped right into the FAQs in that main navigation. So that way you can reference that as needed. So great value as always, Troy. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Will. Really appreciate that. So again, hopefully you guys are really enjoying this. I'm just so excited about the implications of PPCS. I think it's going to really positively shake up things for a lot of sellers, to be able to really deliver like a high, more advanced all-in-one solution for sellers that I think is really going to help. We see so many. Just recently posed this question in the FBA Kings, and I was kind of curious. Why do we feel like sellers are not succeeding? There is no shortage of tools, but why are still sellers not succeeding at scale? There's hundreds of thousands. I mean, there's Facebook groups that are 100,000 deep, and so there still remains a question of what problems need to be solved, because they haven't been. And this is where I'm excited about PPCS, because I think it's a big leap for us at Seller.Tools to say, here's our opportunity. PPC, alongside us really kind of being known for keyword research, we still have real-time Amazon data, can't really get anywhere else. There's so many parts and pieces that we've really hung our hat on, and the advanced tools and the API, that PPC element, along with the organic and the synergy that it provides, I'm really excited. This is kind of the evolution of our space, and I'm really excited for the implications for our users. So guys, I think with that, I want to leave it to you to dive into PPCS yourself, take full advantage of your access, bring any comments, questions, and feedback to FBA Kings, or drop them below in this video. If you catch this after the fact, still would welcome your thoughts and feedback as well. And share this with somebody who would love to get under $100. Pretty much, I mean, again, I think if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful suite of tools that you can get anywhere. And we're going to strive and continue to push to make that the case. So again, I thank you guys that joined me live. Really appreciate you hopping on. And I think with that, I will wrap up. You guys have a wonderful night, wonderful evening where you are, and we'll catch up with you again soon.